this computer. All right. What I'd like to do to call the meeting to order, if I possibly can, we've got an agenda in front of us that is short and sweet and to the point. And the purpose, obviously, for the meeting tonight is just to put closure on our basketball season and give direction to where we're heading. So first and foremost, good evening, everyone. I hope you're well, and I hope you're enjoying some much-deserved downtime. Again, tonight's meeting is to give closure on the 2020-2021 season and pave the way for our preparation for the season to come. We've endured a lot since March 12, 2020, and it's hard to believe it's been a full year since we closed down. Anyway, the members of the executive committee have been working really hard behind the scenes, ensuring that we're going to move forward with a vision and being thoroughly prepared for the upcoming season. Like any organization, the work behind the scenes rarely gets noticed. However, tonight, I want to thank the executive committee for their continued commitment to making Board 26 an exceptional organization. Gus, Tommy, Ryan, John, Dave, Derek, Jeff, Jim Sr., George, Mike, and Don, while giving countless hours as we've looked over our challenges and planned for what we feel are attainable goals with manageable timelines. There's a lot of excitement embedded within the future. We want to be out in front and lead the way the best we can. Again, it's with gratitude and respect that we thank all of you too for doing the best you can during this past season and maintaining a positive attitude, even when things were tough. We aren't out of the woods yet, but I have a good feeling that normalcy is right around the corner. Tonight's meeting is more of just an open meeting, and it's a way for us to pave the way for the year ahead. I'm going to be introducing to you a strategic action plan, which I think encompasses the direction we want to go over the next 2 years. The purpose of the strategic action plan is twofold. Number one is to give the members of the executive committee and the president and vice president an operating structure on which way we're going to be heading, to hold us accountable to the voices of all the board membership. Again, as any organization looks to grow, they look to find areas of weakness, they look to find areas of challenge, and try to make them positives for the people that they represent. I'm really excited about the direction that we're heading. I'm excited to work with the gentlemen that we are working with, the members of the board. More importantly, I'm excited for the future of Board 26. I'm excited to be able to drive the bus, and I'm happy to tell everybody that I'm working with guys that are fully committed to doing what is right by the membership of our board. With that being said, I want to make sure a couple of other things are important to note. Make sure tonight when you come in that you hit the sign in button and put your name so we have an accurate record that you're with us tonight. You can do that at any time that you want. I'm okay with that. And at this point, I'd like to hand over the audio to Tom. Tom's just going to talk about celebrations that we have. I know we have at least one 50-year member, and we want to just make sure we recognize him tonight. Tom?
Thank you, Dean. The main celebration is we got through it. We got through it in one piece. There were schedule changes left and right. And the membership of the board and other boards that are used for officiating around here were phenomenal in accepting these changes, staying flexible. So celebrate yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable year from a signer's perspective, toughest one I've ever had. Just saying that as on a personal thing, getting calls and emails 5 and 6 a day with schedule changes, postponements, cancellations, site moving, you name it. We got through it. And we got through it because you guys helped us get through it. So celebrate yourselves. One recognition for longevity, and 50 years is the walking, talking definition of longevity. And he was active all 50 years. Because I was fortunate enough to be present at his last game of the season. Dick Anderson, 50 years, active officiating. Short of the pros, you name a level, Dick worked it. Absolutely incredible. He says he's retiring. He and I are going to have a conversation. We need Dick Anderson.
Yeah, it's hard to pull the official out of that gentleman. So there's no doubt about that. I'm sure that you can convince him probably to stay around in some capacity. Please do so.
There are other people that have 35, 40, 45 years. We will recognize them at the first meeting of the year, next year. So they get their due. And we will also, again, recognize Dick at that time.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tom. Appreciate the words. At this time, I'd like to just hand it over to Gus, update on the assistant interpreter.
Hey, so we put out for assistant interpreter. Right now, Jim Marine III is our assistant interpreter. We're just throwing it out there to see if there's any other people that are interested in an assistant interpreter's position. We had 3 people that put in credentials. So what we're going to do is we're going to meet with Jim and then the other 3 people to move forward on what we want to do with the assistant interpreter. The assistant interpreter's position is not a voted on position. It's an appointed position by the president with a recommendation of the interpreter and the executive committee. So it is a position that can be changed, on a regular basis. What we're looking for is somebody that eventually is going to want to boot me off of where I am and take over as interpreter. It's good to have a process in place, and it gets other people involved also. So we will be reaching out to those people. If anybody else is interested, feel free to put in some paperwork. Dean had sent out an email a while ago on that.
Thank you, Gus.
That would be about what I have for the assistant interpreters.
We did talk, go ahead, Gus.
Yeah, so one other thing to talk about is a couple of weeks ago, we had our first Ask Gus Zoom meeting, which is just kind of an open forum to talk basketball, talk rules.
Gus, excuse me, Gus, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We're going to have that later on in the agenda.
Oh, good.
If
Okay,
you want
never
to say
mind.
that. Okay.
I want to jump ahead. Go ahead. I'm done.
Thank you. No, a great job. I appreciate it. And I think Gus did a good job summing up the assistant interpreter's position. And again, in order to have full transparency and full opportunity for membership of the board, we did put out a form. I believe we have 4 individuals who have an interest. And in all fairness of the 4 individuals, we will set up interview round robin, kind of just opportunities to talk and discuss the rationale of why you want the position. And then we'll make a decision after we give an equitable opportunity for all to express their reasoning and rationale and why they would like to be part of this. Again, Gus is fantastic at what he does, but he does need a shadow, and he does need somebody with him to be able to bounce ideas off of. Our board is big, and I think as an opportunity for all people to be able to reach out, I think it's great if they have 2 people to reach out who really are digging deeply into the rules and able to respond in a quick fashion. So thank you, Gus, for what you do, and we look forward to moving that process along. The next part I have here is strategic action plan. This came to mind a long time ago when we started thinking about how we were going to operate. As I said, the rationale behind the strategic action plan is to drive your executive board, your president, your vice president, and to move them to an area of efficiency. We put down some salient points. I'm not going to open up the strategic action plan. You can do that on your own. It's been out there for a while now. But the highlights of the plan include, and are not limited to, understanding Robert's rules and having an effective meeting and how that plays out for our meetings. We try to limit our meetings to be 45 minutes. That's our goal, but they need to be agenda driven, and they need to make sure that we have an opportunity to really understand what we're looking to do and get there throughout those 45 minutes. We have several subcommittees that we're setting up. More importantly, when we're going to be looking at the bylaws, we think it's important that every member has an understanding of working knowledge of what the bylaws are and how they can affect them. Our subcommittees will be reporting out throughout the summer to ensure that everybody does have an understanding there. We are creating job descriptions with term explanations. So that gives further transparency to all board members so they can have an understanding when terms are coming up and if they want to apply for the positions themselves. We'll be digging deeply into treasurer's operating budget transparency. We have a transparency committee. We'll be looking at ways to ensure that the membership can understand and see where the funding avenues are and which direction we're going to be going with them. New officials examination committee. Gus has been ahead of that for a while now. We're going to continue to look at that to ensure that we're kept up with the times. Audit and Budget Committee, Don Allery and a committee of 2 others will be on that to be able to report back out of where the money is being spent, how it's being spent, and what it looks like from a consumer's point of view. And we'll call the consumers our membership. It's important that you have a complete understanding of that. Sportsmanship Awards Committee, we'll still continue with that. Jim Marine Senior has been involved with that for a long time. We appreciate his work. Dues Collection Committee, this has been a mountain for us. We put a lot of time and effort into making sure that we're following existing bylaws and collecting the dues and making sure we are communicating with membership effectively. We're still, we're cleaning that up. And this year, I can guarantee that we won't be chasing dues into the month of April. We have got our list in front of us. We're working with those individuals and we're going to follow the bylaws as they state now. But we are going to be cleaning up language. We have a subcommittee set to look at the bylaws and how the language is, the verbiage is there, and to ensure us that we can move forward into an electronic world that we're in using email, electronic email, read receipts and things of that nature instead of just postage, since everybody does have this in front of them right now. Ethics Committee, Don Allery continues to do an amazing job with the Ethics Committee. If there was ever a guy cut out to do it, it's Don. Don has the ability to pivot and hit issues head on. And, we're working on being hard on issues and being as soft as we can on the people. And again, anytime you're dealing with human beings, you have to understand there's emotion attached to things that we do, but we have to make sure that we continue to drive down the lane that was set forth. And the Ethics Committee does a nice job with that. Mentorship Committee, we're going to be looking into making sure that we are providing all the mentorship needed for individual members 3 years and under. We'll be reorganizing that. You'll be able to see that within this document. So keep coming back to it. Communication platforms, Future Ready, what that looks like. The SMORE e-news that we have our Twitter accounts. We'll be doing anything and everything we can to get our messages out to everybody in multiple fashions. So again, we're not going to be stuck in the old school mentality with that. We're going to be out in front of that and making sure that we're keeping up with the millennials coming in and the sub-millennials before that. So we'll continue that type of conversation. New class structure. Again, Gus and his committee have done a great job with the new class. We've now had a year without that class. We have plenty of time now to restructure that to make it look, we'll call it 21st century ready, and provide avenues for all new officials to be able to become active members in an efficient manner. Future Ready Committee, and I just threw that in there myself because what we do is always evolving. It's like an education. I talk about it all the time. If you're not on the train to move forward, you're stuck somewhere. And being stuck somewhere doesn't get you to the growth level that you want to be. I love the analogy that if you're still renting your movies at Blockbuster, well, guess what? Time is passing you by very quickly because I don't know a Blockbuster that's still around. You need to be able to see what's in front of us and to be able to use those tools to move us as an organization moving forward. All good organizations do that. It's painful for some, I get that. But I think once you get the tools in your toolbox, that you will be able to say, okay, efficiency and effectiveness are things we have to look at when we're running our meetings and adhering back to the membership of the board. Moving forward, okay, Gus, and we talked about this a minute, something that we're doing right now is rules talking with Gus. We had a great first session with that, and I'm going to let Gus talk more about that later on. We also have an idea of getting involved with the athletic directors sometime in the summer, setting up a portal for them to be able to understand how the rules are applied to the game, how connectivity with Board 26 needs to be in Central Massachusetts, and more importantly, to provide them with the tools that they need in order to understand what we do as a working collective unit. I'm very excited about that, as we'll have a subcommittee together, getting all emails of all existing athletic directors and begin to put that portal together. In addition to that, we're really looking forward to having subcommittees reach out to all the coaches in Central Massachusetts, not limited to only high school, JV, and freshman coaches, but even as we move forward, dovetailing into some of these youth coaches who sometimes struggle to understand that the rules of the game are there to protect kids and the integrity of the game. The more people that we can get to understand what our vocation is all about, the better and cleaner the opportunity for playing is for all parties. Let me see where we're at here. And I apologize, I'm working two machines at once. Okay, professional development opportunities. I'm going to throw it back to Dave. Gus, I'm sorry, I don't call you Dave. I apologize. I'll call you Gus. But Gus, if you want to talk a little bit about your first session, how it went down, and we have another session set up for next Thursday night. Gus?
So the talking with Gus, I thought went pretty well. The first session was just more of a open session. We talked about why people became basketball officials, and then we got into a few rules situations and some unusual plays and things like that. What we're going to do the next one is I'm going to have some film on some different types of plays. we're going to go into where you can find all kinds of plays in the IBO website on the main office website. Because there's a million plays in there. You can find them on anything you want. If you want to find a play on double dribble, traveling, correctable error, there's stuff there, and it's all available to all the membership. So we're going to try to get people to maybe use that a little bit more. Going back to what Dean had talked about with this coaches and athletic directors roundtables. A couple ways I want to kind of approach that is in the past, we had always had an interpretation meeting for the coaches. The last few years, we've been unable to do that. Now, it's only been attended by a few people, a few coaches, but if we have that as a Zoom session, I think we can get more coaches involved. Another way I want to go about it is I want to select maybe 3 coaches to come into a Zoom meeting and talk to our membership about what they're looking for out of officials and their perspective on the game. That might be kind of one of the talking with Gus sessions we have. I'll get a couple of coaches involved in that. As far as professional development, all young officials should strive to get to the best position they can get to. I guess I shouldn't say young officials, all officials. I think the ultimate goal is for a lot of people, they want to work varsity high school basketball, but then there are other people that want to move on to work college, and they want to either work women's college or men's college. So we have the names of the people. Larry Last is in charge of the men's college officiating, and Kenny Nosek is still the New England rep for the women's college officiating. He's a member, or maybe, yeah, he's still a member, I believe, of Board 26. And then a gentleman by the name of Dan Picard, who also is in the women's side. So we have contacts for all of those people. What we're going to do is put those contacts out.
Yep.
They run camps, but I don't believe they're having camps this year at this time. So we want people to strive and just move forward in the game.
So we're going to allocate a section of our website as well as our consistent e-news that goes out just a click away with all the assigners' contact information there. So I'm glad you said that, Gus. It's part of our operating movement going forward. So thank you. And I think that needs to be available for any and all officials as they, whatever their level of aspirations are. We need to make sure that we create that conduit for that.
Yeah, what we'll also do is put in some of our current officials that are working college basketball, both on the men's and women's side, and some of our former officials that were outstanding college officials that maybe aren't working college at this time, but still have a very strong connection with the college game, both on the men's and women's side. So if somebody just wants to get a hold of them and talk to them, it'd be a good opportunity for them to find out what it's all about.
Again, I think that we'll do a subcommittee there and we'll reach out to some individuals and ask them to come in and have some guests speaking stuff for us, and they can help drive the train, and we can just bring them in as pseudo subcommittee members. And I think that's just a good move to make whenever you start making those type of platforms for individuals. So thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Gus. Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, as soon as I unmute myself. We didn't have a class this year, which was unfortunate. We just couldn't put it together. Next year, we will definitely be having a class. I don't know if it'll be a Zoom format or a live format. I hope they have it a live format, but I do want some people to start looking into the IBO University, which is an online class and things. But if you did do the IBO University, you would still have to come to our classes for the floor tests and things like that, and the floor training. So there would still be a thing there. One thing I would like to do is maybe try to get the board to get more people involved. So start talking it up. We'll be starting the class the Tuesday after Labor Day, as we always do. And it goes for about 9 weeks and things. So start talking that up to people that are interested in becoming officials and things like that. We'll reach out to some of the high schools and some of the colleges also to see if they have people interested. I have one player at Assumption College that is interested in coming next year already. So
Gus, I appreciate you saying that. I just want to add in that I believe my heart of hearts will be in a hybrid situation next year. We don't want to not utilize the tools we have in front of us right now because this allows us for latitude and flexibility. So how to embed the Zoom process into the learning atmosphere for those classes is going to be an important thing we can discuss at more of a subcommittee level. But I do think that we don't want to lose these tools because they are very effective ways to get messages out to people. There's no substitute for in-class, face-to-face, 100% agree. But again, I think as we move forward, we'll be looking for a blended hybrid with some sort of platforms. So, but thank you. I'm going to now turn it over to Charlie. Charlie, if you want to talk about sportsmanship, please. And scholarship. I meant to say scholarship. I did that twice. I apologize. Charlie, you with us?
Is he
Charlie, one
muted?
more time. Anybody see Charlie? Is he in there?
He's muted, Dean.
Can you text him to unmute him?
You can tell
Is
him,
it,
Charlie, unmute yourself.
All right, Charlie, I can unmute you once I find you. You're on a little sidebar on my screen here. There he is. Ask to, I don't have that one. Come on, Charlie, I got you. I've asked him to unmute himself.
So did I. He just got
He's halfway
pounded.
done with his talk.
All right. I know he was talking earlier. Okay. All right, I'll have to get a written piece from Charlie and I'll add that into my newsletter as we help him navigate through the technological world. Okay. I'm going to move to closing remarks, but before I do so, I would like to open the floor for the membership that's here now. Does anybody have any open floor comments that they'd like to share out before I do any closing remarks? Feel free just to unmute yourself and jump in.
It's Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
If you're willing to take members of the board on, I'd be happy to help with the bylaw revision.
Absolutely, would be willing to get voice and help from the membership of the board. Absolutely. What I will do is I will put out a form for anybody who wants to be helpers in that regard. And definitely, thank you, Bruce. Appreciate that. We can use all the help we can get. Would anybody else like to speak?
Charlie would, but he can't figure out how to unmute.
Okay. That being said, again, I want to thank all of you. Change is never easy, and I can't accentuate enough the fine work that's happening behind the scenes from the guys on the executive committee. They are committed. We meet monthly. I'm as transparent as I can be as I put the agendas out after every one of our meetings so you can see what we're doing. Again, the strategic action plan will just drive us where we're going, and we will do our best within the timeframe allowed here to ensure that we have all those areas checked, those boxes checked, and that if things come into play, this is a living, breathing document. We can add things as we go, but I think as an operating organization, we still have to take collective opinions from our membership and find ways that they want us to represent them as they navigate through their journey of officiating. Again, you can see all the dates for next year. They've already been placed out there for you. If you go into the SMORE newsletter that I sent out, they are there. They're connected to our agendas. You can go back to any agenda. If you look for the year, I combine all the agendas. So all you have to do is scroll down. If you're ever in doubt of looking for something, it's right at your fingertips. You don't have to go looking for it in multiple places. I've done the same for the executive meeting minutes. So we'll continue to streamline, we'll continue to serve, and more importantly, we'll continue to grow together. Again, that's really, yep.
Charlie's back.
Charlie, I tried to prolong as long as I could. Great.
You did a good job. I was
Thank you.
squirreling around in the woods here. Don't worry about me. I just want to give an update for everybody so that they know I still have, I think, relatively decent control as far as the scholarship committee is concerned, but I have always had the same concern, and I will continue as I do my job to have the concern that we were just not getting responses from enough of the members who have children who are graduating or taking advantage of the money. I don't understand that, but it's the way it is, unless, I mean, I'd love to be able to know that in next year that we are going to have 12 members who are going to have children that are graduating, so that we can always be assured that we have enough funds to cover what we want to do. And this year, or the last actually year and a half, has been a little hesitant because we haven't been able to generate any funds. We haven't been able to run the basketball tournaments or anything that would bring revenue in our direction. So I hate it when we're in a depletion state. And what we have so far this year is it appears we have 6 people, Pete Delastrito and Dick Andersons and Timmy McKay and Jeff Padula, who's new with us, and Jay Dolan and Jonathan Stevens, who all have people who are, 3 of which are already submitted their applications, and the other 3 all have them back in by the 15th of June. So we should be looking at giving 6, maybe 7 scholarships this year. And I'd like to keep it as close up to that number that we've been giving out. We've been given $450, and we've been giving it out at rates of about $4,000 a year. And if we keep it at 6, we'll be below that level at that number. So my biggest concern would be if we went to one of those years that we've had in the past where we had 15 people and 15 at 450 is a little high for us at this stage of the game with the balance that we have, the rescinding balance, I would call it, that we have in that account. But I feel good about it, and look forward to continuation of it.
Charlie, you do a great job with that, and we all appreciate what you do. And it's again, sometimes a thankless job, but you've always come through and you've always put the needs of kids first. So thank you. And we hope you can continue working in the capacity that you're doing. And when we get back to normal, hopefully the funds will start flowing back in as they once did.
All righty, listen, it was a great year in absentia, but still a good year.
Thank you. Floor is open to anybody else who would like to speak.
Dean, if I may,
Yes, you may.
just in,
Lost them.
thank you to everybody who participated this year. The officials that officiated, the executive committee, the president, all the way down, everybody.
Someone call Patrice.
John, you're breaking up a little bit. I don't know if you can hear us okay. You still with us, John?
He's froze right up.
You frozen?
He's frozen.
Very. He's not breaking up a little, Dean. He's
He's stuck.
He's totally frozen. It's the beauty of the technological world that we're in. He's going to come back in. I know that he will. And
On the other hand, Dean, you sound like Mission Control. Can you hear us?
can you hear us now? Isn't that the guy from Verizon? All right, remember we're recording, so we want to stay as straight on as we can be.
Well,
We'll
just
give
just
John-
came on my screen that he left, so he might be trying to come back in.
He'll come right back in, I'm sure. And it wouldn't be fair without a John Palermo. There he comes. All right. He should be settling back in. Okay, John, we're going to give you a second chance at that. We believe in those second chances.
We here?
You are, yes.
All right. Sorry, IT is, all righty, there we go. He's back on.
All right. We knew it wouldn't be complete until we got him back, so.
A sincere thank you to all. I think that, everybody really bounced the ball a little bit higher than we normally have to. What a year. And Tom said it well before, but from start to finish, there was no one who had anything negative to say, or do. Everything that I viewed and witnessed as an observer went terrifically well from the administrative standpoints, athletic directors, the officials, the participants, the players. It was really a treat to be able to view and how everybody really stepped up. And I applaud everyone for being involved. The dean and the executive committee, Gus, oh my God. What more can be stated? It's beyond words that the jobs that you people did behind the scenes, more so than on the scene. And you deserve more credit than we can ever offer. But it makes me proud to be part of Board 26. Thank you.
Thank you, John, for the kind words. And again, we appreciate it. And, I often look at it as, what is our legacy? How do we want to hand this off to the next person? So the people that I'm working collectively with right now, they get that. And again, you're going to remove yourself from the equation and see how you can serve. So thank you. We appreciate that. We're going to continue doing what we do and continue sharing out. Anybody else here like to have an opportunity to speak before we close out the meeting? Seeing none, thank you so much for your time. Again, I'm going to post this. I'm going to post this up on my next e-news that goes out. If you want to stay on, you're welcome to stay on and talk to the executive committee members here. But at this point in time, I'm going to stop the recording. And I just want to say thank you for all members that did take place in this tonight.